Access to justice is central to who we are at Land. We were founded in 2023 to fill a major gap, to provide pro bono legal services and educational supports for Indigenous and Northern communities facing environmental and rights-based injustices. And in this 5-part series, we begin by exploring the 3 things we can all do to advance access to justice in our communities. Throughout, you'll hear from Indigenous leaders and community voices about what access to justice means to them and why it's so overdue.
I'm here as a treaty person that our Mother Earth needs help. We have to think the future up ahead, not just tomorrow, generations. What's going to impact our river, our waterways, our land,
Access to justice isn't just a legal concept. It's a basic human right. It means having equal protection under the law and a real chance to be heard. But for many, it's still out of reach. Canada's highest court, the Supreme Court of Canada, has called it the greatest challenge to the rule of law today. Too often, individuals and communities are left without the support, tools, or information they need to seek justice or protect their rights because financial, geographic, and systemic barriers keep them from accessing the legal help they need. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission calls on all of us to recognize Indigenous legal systems, including natural law, as living, legitimate sources of law. In Ontario, there's over 130 First Nations, and nearly 80% are located here in the north. To act on the TRC's calls to actions means we must make space for Indigenous laws to be upheld, not only in the courts, but in how we make environmental policy, pass legislation, and assess impacts on land, water, and community health.
Kindness, honesty, sharing, and strength. That's natural law of the land. We are on that land right now, and so we should be in accordance to that. We have an encroachment upon the land from something that doesn't go well with Indigenous or natural law. And that's greed and power. So when we have our natural law here to be kind, to be honest, and to share, and that way we have strength. Those 2 differences cannot coexist. Kindness, honesty, and sharing, greed and power, they cannot exist together. It has to be one or the other. No, doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense because we see too many suffering and too many violence. But if we're kind and honest and share, then that helps the world turn, helps the world go around, helps the plants grow, helps, it just makes so much sense that you can quantify and qualify it today.
I think we as a people, we come from an understanding that we're a part of creation, and everything that is a part of creation is important, not just to us as a people, but to everything that we're connected to, because we're connected to all that in spirit, and we're connected in that way for everything to be in harmony. I think that's how the stories have been passed down to us from our ancestors, that in harmony everything will work in that creation that was given to us by the Creator, basically. And with that it's important, I think, for us, even today, our people have to feel it, because it is a feeling that you are a part of creation, and we're equal to it. Like my dad, my mom, he said, you got to remember the stories that were passed down orally. When they're passed down orally, we weren't given a book and a paper. There's a reason, because these stories that are passed down from the beginning of time, once you speak it orally, you're giving it your life. It's bringing those stories to life. So, meaning those stories that were passed on, even today, like my dad said, I'm telling you the stories of way back. And right now, I'm saying this with my voice, my energy, my spirit. I'm bringing those stories back. Because it's not only my words, you'd say. Those words came from our ancestors too.
As we explore in the other videos in this series, both the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, or UNDRIP, and the UN's Global Biodiversity Framework place access to justice at their core. UNDRIP affirms the right to self-determination and self-governance, and it calls for Indigenous peoples to have meaningful participation in decisions that affect them, and a justice system that duly recognizes their laws, traditions, and customs. The UN Biodiversity Framework builds on this, recognizing that addressing the challenge of access to justice is essential if we are to support Indigenous-led conservation to protect and restore biodiversity. Access to justice is also about legal empowerment. That's why at LAND, we host legal workshops, create plain language resources, and visit communities to help bridge that gap between knowledge and legal services. It also means creating space for participation and assisting community members and grassroots leaders when they are engaged in consultations, public hearings, and processes where their laws, values, and well-being are directly affected.
Grassroots means people that are not political office or not in not in the regional governments, both federal, provincial, the community members that hunt, trap, that travel, that waterways, our rivers, our lakes, our ocean, the James Bay. So those are grassroots people that live in that area, in that Arwapskat River. The grassroots are a voice from, from within the families, within the individually as a treaty rights holder, stakeholder, shareholder. So those guys, we have rights. So that's who we trying to encourage to speak up. I'm a treaty right holder, so I have to say something. And I'm trying to encourage others to say, hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? Where's the information? Where's the documentation that, okay, you guys going to do something? Where's that information? How come we don't hear about it? How come we didn't know about it, till the last day or after, That's what I'm trying to avoid. I want people to know prior.
And lastly, access to justice is about confronting the systemic barriers that perpetuate injustices in the first place. A recent report of the federal government stresses the need to address social determinants of justice, recognizing intergenerational trauma and systemic racism has disproportionately harmed Indigenous peoples, which is critically impacting whether they can have equal access to justice.
The system is set up pretty good. It's colonizing, and it's working for them. It's not working for us. The information that they bring to our chief councils, tribal councils, it doesn't reach the grassroots people. Our grassroots people are still suffering the effects. It could be intergenerational, the residential school, the trauma. Our people are suffering right now. They're being left in the dark. We still have declarations of emergency for suicide in Anawapskat. Housing is backlogged. So imagine the environment that they're going to do to it. That's who's going to declare emergency. Those rivers, they mean a lot to us, our waterways. So we need help legally. We need land to help the Friends of Anawapskat River. So that way we have a voice and we are concerned. And also we have to think about the future yet to be born. We need to protect our inherent rights, sovereignty rights, our treaty rights. We want to be heard.
Access to justice shouldn't be a privilege. It's a right. And whether you're a policymaker, a student, teacher, or lawyer, you have a role to play. Thanks for joining us, and please like this video, subscribe to our channel, or check out the links in the description below to watch the other videos in our series and access materials in our resource library.